So we actually sat down, recorded episode 12, a whole preview of Fair Week episode before it started. And then Fair Week happened, real life took over, and editing did not happen.
We were slammed that week.
So instead of telling you what we're going to do, we're just going to tell you exactly how it went. Welcome to Sunday Faith, Weekday Chaos.
Where faith meets family.
And chaos meets cows, pageant crowns, and finding God in the middle of it all. So, yeah, I'm not real sure how we managed to record an entire episode. I think we did that probably, Thursday night? So it would have been the night of the general project show.
I think so.
I had really, really good intentions of getting that episode edited by Sunday.
Just wasn't no time at all.
There really wasn't. And the time that we did have, which again is usually me sitting here editing at night, I was ready for bed most nights.
And I don't blame you because it was so hot.
Oh my God, it was so darn hot. Actually, I take that back. We had decent temperatures, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday?
Yes.
Monday, though, which was the day that Cecilia had her pageant and the cow show and all those good hot things, was Monday.
They said Monday was the hottest that it has been for the cattle show.
I would believe it.
From what a couple of the guys were talking about.
Yep. So, anyhow, editing the episode didn't happen until 2 nights ago. And by the time I got halfway through and remembered that there was a part that I needed to clip from later because we had discussed something later and it made sense to have it more in the beginning. And I thought to myself as we recorded, that would be a super easy flip. And probably it would have been, but my brain was not functioning to where it should have been.
I totally understand.
So anyhow, here we are. We're recording a brand new episode, which is going to end up being a hybrid of some of the things we talked about because they're things that both of us decided were worth a discussion. So let's go ahead and jump right in and talk about 4-H Clover Bud. So Cecilia has been in Clover Buds. This is her second year?
Yes.
So for Clover Buds, if you have 4-H in your area, I feel like the introduction of Clover Buds has been a more recent addition to 4-H. I think they've had some programs going on, but I know when I was in 4-H when I was a kid, we didn't have Clover Buds. You just kind of started at 3rd grade and you were just in 4-H and you hit the ground running, so to speak.
Yeah, I didn't do 4-H, which is really surprising, but I was involved in a lot of other stuff anyhow. So
yeah, I hate that you don't have that background because I feel like that's one of those things you would have thrived at.
I agree.
I'm super glad that Cecilia's got that opportunity though. And I think it's really great that they have the Cloverbud program, not just a 4-H program here. I think I did some research. Cloverbuds isn't something that every extension system has adopted. So, and I think what it comes down to is just volunteers and someone being able to run that program. Like ours, our Cloverbuds run with our our clover buds run with our regular club. And so for ours, our clover buds are in the meeting and they get to participate and they get to see how the big kids do things and they still get to do their talks and things like that.
And we got a lot of clover buds in our group.
Yeah, and I think maybe this year they're planning to have the clover buds. Are they planning to have them like meet in their own small club?
Yeah, in the same meeting area as the rest of the group, but they'll go back in the into a little area and they do
Like an activity or
yeah,
something?
yes, because we have so many clover buds in the group. Cecilia's first year there wasn't a whole lot, so they just didn't have a separate group for them. They just stayed with the big kids. But this year, um, there's more clover buds and big kids in our group, which is awesome to see.
It is. So tying that in with Fair Week, the clover buds still get to show. They get to show a general project, so they get to basically pick anything that they want that they can do an art project on. They can talk about an animal. One of Cecilia's friends did a job shadow day. Cecilia did a painting that she actually made at Cloverbud Camp that she was just super proud of. It was one of those where you take a canvas and you put tape across it and then you just paint the different sections, and she absolutely loved that.
That was very pretty.
It was. And so she got to go and do her talk, and then her project was on display all week with the rest of the big kids, and she was just super proud to show that off to anyone that she could.
The one thing that ties in with the clover buds is the buddy program, which Cecilia got to participate in again this year.
Yep, she got to work with her high school buddy to show a cow.
She's been all excited about the cow.
She has. So she's gone out to their house. They live probably 10 minutes from us. And since I think the beginning of June, she would go over once every couple weeks or however often we could get over there.
Depending
And
on all the rain.
between the rain and the heat, because that factored in a few days, but she got to wash the cow and she got to, I think she got to walk him a little bit here and there and just in general get used to him. And I was so surprised watching her on Monday, a fair, how comfortable she was. She certainly wasn't the one really getting this cow to move, all 4 feet of her, but I was surprised at how comfortable she was.
Even the big kids, though, with all that heat, they were struggling to move some of their cows.
Oh my gosh, yes. Well,
Towards the end of the show,
yes.
the animals just had it and they were just done.
That they were. Do you remember the one that almost did a heel click in midair?
I don't remember that one. The one I remember is the cow just, they were walking and just popped it right down on the ground.
So there were multiple cows that had just had it by the time, the buddy program rolled around. So, but I guess we should actually explain what the buddy program is. It's essentially a mentorship for our clover buds, and they pair up with a buddy and they pick an animal that they want to learn how to show. So they could pick rabbits, they could pick chickens, cows, pigs, sheep, goat. And last year, Cecilia did do a goat with our neighbor. And she did really well with that one, too.
And the ages are 5 to 7.
Yeah, so for clover buds, 5 to 7. And then I don't think the buddy well, obviously, I guess if clover buds isn't like a have to have thing, I guess buddy program isn't either. But there are definitely things that I would recommend that if you guys don't have a buddy program or a clover bud program running with your local 4-H, it's definitely worthwhile to look into.
100% agree. Especially like with us, we don't have any Pacific animals, but so seeing what she's comfortable working with or get her introduced to um different animals to see where she finds her comfort zone.
Yeah, so again, last year she showed a goat, this year she showed a cow. By the end of fair, I think she's decided next year she wants to show a pig. So
Yes.
that could change in the next couple of months, but I've already got my eye on a couple of older kids that would be great for her to work with. If she does want to show a pig, if she decides she wants to show a sheep or something like that, I guess we'll figure that one out. But um, go ahead and pull up Ecclesiastes 4, verses 9 and 10. That was something we had talked about that kind of ties the clover buds and the buddy program. And one reason I think that it's just, it all ties it together in sort of a biblical sort of way. Go ahead and pull that up.
Two are better than one because they have a good return for their labor. If either of them falls down, one can help the other up. But pity anyone who falls and has no one to help them up.
I think that just kind of highlights, especially the mentorship, the teamwork, and I think it just goes to show how when you put those things together, the two being better than one in learning and growing together. And I think that that's one thing that to me is just so special about 4-H. At least in our area, I think they try their best to get the older kids to work with the younger kids. Like we have 4-H Federation where the high school kids, it's like another branch of our 4-H that they put on special workshops for the younger kids, or they're working with the Clover Buds at Clover Bud Camp and just things like that, where fostering that relationship between the kids.
Yes, and Cecilia loves going to them, but I've always enjoyed seeing the older kids always being so willing to work together with the little kids. Because working with little kids can be a struggle.
Yes, it can. I think, especially in our community, our county, though 4 H is not strictly about livestock and agriculture, it does help to foster those ties to the community, don't you think?
In a way,
Like, I think communities like ours that focus on a sort of central agricultural fair, it's something that I think our community does a really good job of keeping at the heart of the fair is the agriculture, and it's the kids who spend all the time and the effort working with their animals, learning about new, projects with their different things through 4-H. And I think we just have a really great tie between the two, between the fair, the 4-H, the livestock, and just in general our community. Our community does a phenomenal job of coming together. So to tie that in, let's talk about the pageants, because I know pageants aren't for everyone, but it's a big part of our fair.
Agreed.
Our directors put in a lot of extra effort, I think, and they foster that relationship all through the pageant season that starts pretty much the beginning of June.
Directors and the volunteers that help them.
Yes. So it's just what they pour into these kids to get them ready for the pageant, to make sure that they've done everything that they can. And ironically enough, I think all of our pageant directors have been heavily involved in 4-H and showing animals and things like that, or their kids have. And so those are things that they've tied in. And so it's really great to just see the leadership tying from one area to another, I think.
Yeah.
So let's hit Monday night's pageant first. So Little Miss, that was Cecilia's. It was a whirlwind day. I think we got done showing the cow at like what, 1 o'clock by the time the 4-H cattle show wrapped up.
Yep. Then try and get something to eat, get little man to take a little nap, so we drove around the park.
Yes. Tried to cool down.
That was the key there.
We went and spent, so we have a building where they do show the projects and it's just kind of chill. But for us to go home, it was kind of pointless because by the time we got home, we would have been turning around just to come back because Cecilia needed to go get her hair done at like 3:30. And so,
Which that time got moved up.
yeah, well, she just had availability. We could have gone later, been fine. But so it made sense for us to stay at least down at Flora. So it was nice just to be able to go in there, chill for just a short bit before we did have to go get her hair done.
All in all, I was surprised that the AC was on in that building.
Yeah, I mean, they keep it on through fair, which is really nice because if you do need to cool down, it's a great place.
Correct.
But I digress. So hair's done by like 3:30, we'll say. She didn't have to be ready until 5:45. So keeping her still for 2 hours, it's crazy.
With the heat.
With the heat, trying to keep her cool so her hair didn't get all messed up.
So we went back to the building at least where it was cool and hopefully kind of stay put.
She did not. It was okay though. Her hair was fine.
I was mean more the hair than her.
Yeah, that's true. So anyhow, we get her all sorted out, get all her stuff dropped off. 5:45 was when she had to be at the stage. So, and she had to be there because then they walked down as a group to the nice cool building for their interview portion. And so they talk, and then at by 7:30 the pageant starts. So at that point they're already in their outfits, their hair's ready, all set, right? So then it starts. They do their dance number, they do their intro. I am so dang proud of her and her intro that she worked on solidly for 2 months.
But anytime we went anywhere.
Can I practice my intro? You go for it, girlfriend.
But it wasn't just practicing her intro. She had to have something in her hand to pretend that she was holding the mic.
Yes, she always had her microphone, whatever it was. Paper towel roll,
shoe,
hairspray can, yes, whatever. So she does that. Her next thing is her theme wear. She was a doctor and she wanted to have a clipboard. And the one thing that, so she wanted this clipboard, but to have the clipboard, it made sense for her to like do something with the clipboard, right? So if you're going to have a prop, you might as well do something. So I created a giant prescription for her. It looked like it was on glittery paper and what have you. And the prescription was a crown and she signed it. And so it was a really cute prop. I'll be darned. She flashed it at the judges and then put it back down to her side. I think she was concerned that they wouldn't understand it. So 6-year-old brain is like, nobody's going to get this. I don't get it. She didn't quite get it.
Because it said RX.
Yes, and that threw her off. I think she thought people were going to think it was goofy. And so she flashed it to him. She did smile.
She did.
I was impressed that she showed him because
she held it there for a second or so, a couple of seconds when she flashed. It was not like she flipped it, then immediately turned it back.
Yeah, it wasn't like during dress rehearsal. So dress rehearsal, she barely showed him. And then when one of the directors said, "Hey, why don't you come back and do this?" She was irritated that they made her go back because again, in her head, she had it set and she was mad that she had to go back and do it. She wasn't necessarily mad at them. She was mad at the situation. And when she gets like that, she gets very muley. Like she digs her heels in and she's just like,
it's not changing.
She comes by it honestly. I can't say anything, but that's what she does. So anyhow, the fact that she showed the judges, and that was fantastic. Now, don't forget, it's hotter than all get out that day, but it started to rain off and on during the pageant.
It did.
So these little girls that had worked so dang hard, our stage, imagine like a T shape. So it's got a runway that comes out for those of you picturing this at home, and they walk to the end and they walk back. And so they do that with each pass. Well, these girls had practiced this, and for 6, 7, 8-year-olds, it's a lot to go from changing it from one way to just walking across the stage flat and not coming out on the runway. And so I think that kind of played in just to all the girls in general.
It was an awesome sight, even with the rain. All the girls, they looked pretty.
They did.
Throughout, and Cecilia got top 10.
She did. So there were 19 girls that competed for Little Miss. And they break it down because there are so many of them. They pull a top 10. They have a couple of other awards like the People's Choice, and they have, stage presence, theme wear, things like that. So before they pull the top 3, so the second runner up, first runner up, and queen, they pull a top 10. And they call these 9 girls and they get to number 10, and I'm like, oh, this is last hope. And I'll be gosh darn if they didn't call her name. And I think she was like, pause for a second, because I don't think she realized it was her.
I don't think so.
And honestly, I couldn't be happier. Now, she did not win Little Miss. She didn't get first runner up or second runner up. But she was the youngest to make the top 10. And there were girls that were older than her that didn't make the top 10. And the one thing I will say, every single one of the girls that was on that stage, it was so cool to see them go from the first practice where some of them barely can say their name as they walk out there to each of them doing their intro and putting in their all for this. And so they did really phenomenal. But the fact that Cecilia got top 10 was just so cool to me.
I agree.
So she had a choice of two different gowns. We had one that we'd used previously at Fall Festival, and it's a really pretty white one. And then we'd gotten an orange one this year. And she was kind of back and forth, and we did go back and forth. And she decided to wear her orange one, and she did so beautifully in it. She walked well, and that orange just set her off so much. But I don't think I even told you this. So I'm not going to lie, I prayed for her an awful lot for the pageant. And the one thing that I remember specifically praying to God was that I don't know. I don't know. I just want you to place her, God, where it's going to be best for her. It's going to give her the confidence, what's going to just in general place her in a place of success. And I think that's truly where she managed to get. Now, did she go off stage crying? Yes, she did. She was brokenhearted that night. And I think a lot of the girls were that didn't get it. What little girl doesn't want to wear the crown, right? But do you remember the God wink we had?
I don't think so.
So I got her changed. We came out, and there was a guy who worked at the concession stand, one of them.
I do remember this.
And he came up. He had a thing of corn dogs and the ribbon cut cheese fries. And the one thing Cecilia had said she wanted all day was those ribbon cut cheese fries, but they weren't open when she needed to eat supper before the pageant.
And try and keep her clean before she had to meet.
Yes. And so it just wasn't working out before. The concession stand had closed, and they just said, hey, we had some extra stuff. Walked up to you and said, hey, would you take this? And I don't think either of us had eaten through pretty much the entire pageant, so it was like, sure. But she got her cheese fries. So I just felt like that was one of those moments where God was just kind of like, I know you're upset right now, but here's just a little thing to know to smile, right? She got her dang cheese fries, and she was so happy about that when we got in the truck.
She was.
So,
yes, she was still sad, but at the same time, she was happy about them cheese fries.
I think between that and just the little things that she got, by Tuesday, she was fine. She had no more tears.
Nope.
She wasn't mopey.
She was starting to talk about doing it again.
She's already making plans for next year.
Oh, I have not heard this.
Oh, yes. And so that ties into, we'll just jump ahead to Friday. So Friday was the Miss Clay County pageant, and our cousin participated in that. And so Monday, bless her little heart, Cecilia on the way home had said, I hope cousin doesn't win Friday. And both of us were just so struck. And we said, well, why would you say that? Because that was pretty mind blowing that she would say that. Because she's not mean spirited in any way. And she said, if she wins, she can't run with me next year.
And this is a 6-year-old mind.
The fact that she pieced that together that quickly while at the same time it was like, please don't say that.
But at the same time, you understand where she's coming from.
She totally put that together. And so her goal now is to convince our cousin to run with her next year, because our cousin, she did not get Miss Clay County. One of our neighbor actually won Miss Clay County, so that's super awesome and special. But our cousin, would you have ever pictured that she would have decided to run for Miss Clay County?
No.
The fact that she decided to take this challenge on, pretty much with Cecilia this time last year, and both of them stuck with it, and they both put their alls in.
And they both look so dang beautiful on stage.
Yes. And they practiced together so many times that Cecilia knew her intro, knew our cousin's intro, as well as she knew her own by the time the pageant rolled around. And just seeing the confidence that our cousin walked across that stage in every single one of her moments on stage, I'm so proud of her too.
Agreed. And yes, she didn't win, but not just our cousin, but any of the girls that are listening to this, build that on your future. What confidence you gain from this.
Yes, because none of them have a darn thing to be ashamed of.
No.
But all of those girls that were on that stage Friday night did a phenomenal job. But I am just so proud to be able to say that our cousin was up there and just simply
laid it all out on the line.
She did. She did such a fabulous job. I don't think any of us could be any more proud of her.
Agreed.
Finishing out the week on Friday with the pageant and the close of the fair.
We all survived. Creed made it through.
Bless his heart. I don't think that kid would have been sorry to never see his stroller or car seat again, or just being held. I think he's been perfectly happy to be on the go and on the floor and doing things, because it's not something he could really do anytime we were near the livestock arena.
Yeah.
So is it just me, or does it feel like we finished Fair Week and we hit a brick wall? We've had a 2-week lull in our schedule, and we start school on Monday.
Ha ha ha. You forgot something.
What could I have possibly forgotten? We haven't had anything on the calendar for the last 2 weeks.
Well, I was able to get in the garden and dig my potatoes that finally came around, and the ones that survived the flood that we kept on having.
Yes, so you got your potato harvest. Was it as big of a harvest as you had anticipated?
No, I think the water had a lot to do with the issue.
Gotcha.
But you were working as I was doing the potato harvest.
Oh.
And your daughter, well, our daughter, sorry, was helping me dig potatoes, which she loves doing.
Yes. So, to set the scene, the door that we come in, it's like on our side porch. It's directly in line with where my desk is. And so Cecilia comes in, she's got this sneaky look on her face. She's got something behind her back and she wanted to show me. So, Mommy, I got something to show you. And I'm like, oh, what is it? And like, I knew she was helping Matt with potatoes. And so I'm like, she's got a potato behind her back. And I was like, is it a tomato? No, it's not a tomato. And I said, is it a green bean? And she goes, I don't have a green bean. And so I'm just like giving smart aleck remarks at the or answers at this point. And she comes up to me and she sticks it in my face. And I'm like, why do you have a rusty S hook in your hand? And it moved. I scream. She screams and is still holding this thing over me. She had a huge worm.
Which I'm very impressed that she held it when it wiggled. Because out there in the garden, when it moved, she would drop it every time. So when I heard you scream outside, I really honestly thought that it had fallen on you.
I'm surprised it didn't fall on me. No, she just kind of goes, ooh, and she started shaking with it. And then she was like, oh, I'm supposed to be afraid of this, which I don't think she needs to be afraid. If she wants to pick up the darn worm, I don't care. I am not a worm person. I do not bait my own hook. And so I had her take it back outside.
You know how long it took me to convince her to pick up the worm in the first place?
Oh my gosh. How long?
Only like a minute.
Well, that's still.
It did not take very long at all.
It would have taken me like a month.
She was all intrigued. I was like, baby, it's just a worm. And I'm like, it's not going to do nothing to you. I was like, here, just pick it up. I'm like, touch it. At first, she didn't want to, which, don't blame her. But I'm like, see, I'm touching it. I'm like, is it doing anything to me? No. So I'm like, here, just grab it. She picked one up and, oh, and then it will move, and that's when she would drop it. And I was like, hey, I go, you want to do something funny? She's like, yeah. I was like, go take this to mommy, but don't show her. I was like, just walk in and tell her you have something very important to show her.
Well, she did it very well, and I think you got your desired result. So, hopefully, it's not something she decides to take with her to school, because I don't want that phone call. She's really not. She's not. She's that kid that, you talk to the teacher and they're like, oh, she's such a sweetheart. I can't say that the apple falls far from the tree because that's how I was to my parents. Hey, you know what? If she's being good for you, wonderful. So that's our next adventure. So right now we're just working on swapping out the fair dust and the pageant hairspray for the backpacks and school supplies. And
you have to join us next week to see if we survive getting ready for school.
And don't forget, if you haven't already, please like, subscribe, follow, whatever it is on the platform where you find us. We certainly would appreciate you joining us for our future episodes.